People have voluntarily surrendered nearly 8,000 firearms, no questions asked. And a new year means a new job for a familiar face in local politics. LA City Councilman Tony Cardenas is now Congressman Cardenas. Cindy San Luis takes us to City Hall for his send-off.
The council chamber at LA City Hall was full of pomp and circumstance to thank and send off former council member Tony Cardenas, who won election to Congress this past November.
You will continue to write new chapters. You will continue to do great things if you always remember the path of the heart. Congratulations. Thank you.
Cardenas was first elected to the State Assembly in 1996, where he served 3 terms before being elected to the 6th Council District in the Los Angeles City Council, where he served from 2003 through 2012. As council member, Cardenas made strides to protect youth from gang violence. He pioneered the most comprehensive anti-gang initiative in the country, a community-based gang intervention model that is now the gold standard for gang prevention in cities nationwide.
I think the passion that he has for those young people is the passion of gratitude. The passion that comes with feeling very thankful that he had such a blessed life.
Cardenas is the son of Mexican immigrants. His father worked the fields in Stockton before the family of 13 settled in Pacoima. He is the first Latino to represent the San Fernando Valley in the U.S. Congress.
I think everything you've touched, you've done so well that I've aspired in so many places to copy and look to for inspiration.
Cardenas was the driving force behind the city's mandatory spay and neuter ordinance to reduce the number of stray and homeless dogs and cats on city streets and to decrease the number of animals euthanized in the city's shelters.
There are places I'll remember all my life, though some have changed.
I want to thank all of you for being my brothers and sisters in this journey of representing this wonderful, beautiful city. So thank you all.
Los Angeles has been impacted by Tony Cardenas' contributions, and he will continue to serve Southlanders from the nation's capital. I'm Cindy San Luis for LA This Week.
Tony Cardenas is one of almost 100 freshmen belonging to the 113th Congress. Well, the person in our next story is no freshman, but a veteran of LA's bicycle movement. You can't find a man who champions bicycling more than this Angelino, Alex Baum. Anna Marcos tells us how the city repaid his efforts and contributions on his 90th birthday.
Alex Baum may have exchanged his former bike for a walking cane, but on this, his 90th birthday, the king of all things bicycle gets honored for putting LA on the map of bike-friendly cities. This bridge on the bike path off Los Feliz Boulevard was already named for him, but after this ceremony, there is now a plaque and a picture of Baum for all to see.
Alex Baum was the first big advocate for bikes in Los Angeles. So this bridge is special. We rededicate it.
He is why we are here. He is why cycling in the city of Los Angeles has progressed to where it is. We're now designated as a bicycle-friendly city.
Baum helped create LA's Bicycle Advisory Committee, a citizens group that advocates on bicycle issues. He put together LA's bicycle plan. He helped bring the Olympics to LA in 1984, and so much more.
He made that instrumental in getting us a bicycle program and having bike officers on bicycles, and helped us develop the training.
So, looking back on his 90 years, why did he do it?
I was born living in France, where we bike all the time, and been involved in the sport of cycling all my life, so I got interested.
Not bad for a man who, together with his brother, survived the Nazi concentration camp and went on to ride his way through history on 2 wheels. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Baum was also the first American ever appointed to the International Board of Directors, the governing body for world bicycle competition, and he served on the board of the U.S. Cycling Federation for many years. Well, in addition to making Los Angeles more bike-friendly, the city is also ramping up work on various public transit projects, including a light rail project located in the heart of the city. Cindy San Luis has the details.
You know, since my first day on the job, people have been asking, demanding a 21st century transportation system here in LA.
And a big step toward that goal is underway as workers relocate existing underground telecommunication lines to make way for the Regional Connector, a major light rail project in downtown Los Angeles.
We're resetting LA's reputation. Some used to say we were the land of the freeway and the Range Rover, but we're well on our way to becoming a mecca of 21st century transit culture.
Once completed, the Regional Connector will connect the Gold Line, Blue Line, and Expo Line. While the connector is a short 2-mile project, the mayor says it will have a great impact for the city's 88,000 daily metro commuters.
Once it's completed, it will allow for a one-seat ride from East LA, where I was raised, to Santa Monica, where I used to ride my bike almost 50 years ago.
The project is funded through voter-approved Measure R, which commits a projected $40 billion in traffic relief and transportation upgrades throughout the county over the next 30 years.
No longer will riders from Long Beach have to transfer at 7th Street just to get the extra 2 miles to Union Station. Nor will Eco-Frans from Pasadena have to change trains to get to the Staples Center.
Passengers will have access to 3 new stations in downtown at 1st and Central, 2nd and Broadway, and at 2nd and Hope. The $1.3 billion project will also improve 11 intersections, which will see less congestion. I'm Cindy San Luis for LA This Week.
The project, if fully funded, could open in 2019. For more information about the Regional Connector project, visit metro.net/Regional Connector. Well, if you own a small business, you probably have a website to go with it. However, that's not the case for a majority of Hispanic-owned small businesses. As Gil Reyes explains, the search engine Google aims to help minority business owners get online.
Venice salon owner Marcela Gabriel is one of hundreds of small business owners learning how to build a website to stay competitive.
I need to grow my business. It's a difficult time.
She and others taking advantage of Google's Get Your Business Online campaign. It's targeting small Hispanic-owned businesses. That's because an estimated 57% of them in California don't have websites. The course, available online, is free. So is your new website for its first full year.
The reason to give LA's small businesses a much-needed boost. The mayor says their success will help deliver Los Angeles from this dismal economy.
It's important that those companies have the tools to grow, that they have the tools to make their businesses more successful.
Get started by logging on to Gaibo, short for GetYourBusinessOnline.com. You could have a 3-page website with video links up and running within minutes.
Less than 5 minutes. They help you. This is a great program.
The course is available in English and Spanish. In downtown LA, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Your new website will be free for the first year. After that, it'll cost around $7 a month to maintain. Get started by logging on to gybo.com for a course in English or gybo.com/Espanol for Spanish. The Los Angeles Quality and Productivity Commission recently held its annual awards ceremony honoring city departments that go above and beyond despite limited resources. Yana Kay has more.
This is the Los Angeles Business Assistance Virtual Network, a free online service offered by the city for vendors and contractors to learn about potential opportunities to do business with the city. And now, thanks to the Information Technology Agency, or ITA, the site has become more user-friendly and efficient.
We were able to reduce a lot of the paperwork. The vendors are able to upload their online documents so they can get their legal documents loaded and registered. It gave an opportunity for many of the city departments to be able to share resources.
For this kind of innovative thinking, the ITA was one of 14 city departments to receive a Quality and Productivity Award this year. The awards honor city departments that are able to thrive and operate while reducing costs.
It does reward creativity, it does reward initiative, and it really is a bottom-up celebration.
The Quality and Productivity Awards not only acknowledge those departments that are able to save money, but the awards also focus on those projects that are able to address customer service and quality of life issues. The Bureau of Sanitation from the Department of Public Works was recognized with 9 awards. One for developing a way to analyze water in a more efficient way.
So basically we're combining the analysis of 2 instruments into 1 instrument. So it saved us time and staff, and we're trying to do more with less.
The Department of Building and Safety also received an award for cutting red tape and making it easier to obtain building permits.
We have about 7 departments sitting in one office helping you to get your permit.
Helping Angelenos by providing them with useful services that make life easier. That's what these awards are all about. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
A total of 27 Quality and Productivity Awards were handed out. And a local organization also gave out awards, this time to honor the accomplishments of area public works departments, including our very own Department of Public Works. Cindy San Luis takes us to Lakewood, where the award ceremony was held.
Members belonging to the Southern California chapter of American Public Works Association filled the ballroom at the center at Sycamore Plaza in Lakewood for the chapter's 12th annual awards luncheon. The organization's goal? To highlight the accomplishments of public works departments and their employees.
This is the best of our industry this year. It's the kind of projects we like to see moving forward to improve the infrastructure in our communities.
29 outstanding public works projects were highlighted at this year's luncheon, with 3 of them coming out of the city of Los Angeles. One of them, the Living Amphibians, Invertebrates, and Reptiles, or LAIR exhibition at the LA Zoo, is the only project of its kind built in the city of Los Angeles since 1964.
It's a pretty complicated building in that it has to provide life support for a number of different reptiles and amphibians and a few invertebrates. It's got a green roof, which makes it also a very unique structure in the city, and it's bringing people to the zoo every day.
Another City of LA project recognized is the Fred Roberts Recreation Center new gymnasium.
It's about a 10,000 square foot gym plus a 2,500 square foot annex building to replace the old and outdated gym and recreation center buildings at Fred Roberts. The facility serves upwards of 150 to 200 kids almost every day, both indoor and outdoor activities.
Following the destruction of the lawn at City Hall during Occupy LA, half an acre of the north lawn was renovated in the midst of a budget crisis, made possible through the collaboration of a number of city agencies.
Instead of putting the lawn back as it was, just to save water and to be a little more environmentally sensitive, we decided to replace it with native plants instead of with lawn.
Cities and private sectors submitted nominations for projects to be recognized.
We know some people went away, empty-handed, but the great projects anyway. We need them all here in Southern California.
And this event underscores the importance of public works in daily life. From the center at Sycamore Plaza in Lakewood, I'm Cindy San Luis for LA This Week.
And over at the Los Angeles Police Department, the men and women in uniform who put their lives on the line daily to protect the public were also recognized. Here's Anita Bennett.
As their friends, colleagues, and family members watched with pride, 74 LAPD officers, dispatchers, and volunteers were honored during the department's recognition awards at the Police Administration Building in downtown LA.
For distinguishing themselves for going beyond the call of duty, along with quick and decisive actions, the department is proud to award the Life-Saving Medal to Officer Susan Garcia.
It's nice to know that people out there notice what we do and that it's not always with a negative stigma. So it's really nice.
Chief Charlie Beck handed out the awards.
The Los Angeles Police Department has great traditions. And one of the greatest traditions is that we recognize people who go above and beyond, who do what is so difficult.
Now the recipients are volunteers as well as members of 8 different divisions of the LAPD, including Southeast, where officers rescued the victims of a hostage situation.
Just seeing the hostages tied up, that's when of course, it really sets into your mind where it's, okay, this is a real deal. And you just react from there on.
Another officer received the Life-Saving Medal for rushing to help an unconscious baby.
Having 6 children of my own, it didn't take long before I jumped into action, just like treating it like it was one of my children.
Now these local heroes and volunteers are being treated to a day in the spotlight for their outstanding service. In downtown Los Angeles, I'm Anita Bennett for LA This Week.
The LAPD holds recognition ceremonies several times each year. But all this Thanksgiving and handshaking gives way as LA's public safety officials get competitive as they battle to see who can donate the most blood. The 7th annual Battle of the Badges pits the LA Police Department against the LA Fire Department in a fight to save lives.
Every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs a transfusion. And always, there's a critical blood shortage after the holidays. It's a great opportunity for the Los Angeles Fire Department and the Los Angeles Police Department to impact that shortage.
And this is just one way for two great organizations to come together, make a statement about what's important, and do something good for people.
The battle for bragging rights will take place from January 16th to February 16th, and everyone's invited. For donation sites and other info, log on to redcrossbattleofthebadges.org. And LAX takes part in this year's Tournament of Roses parade with the Spectacular Float, an art exhibit about life on the streets of Boyle Heights and making LA's most dangerous crosswalks safer. These stories and more in City Beat. A total of 53 intersections with the highest number of vehicle-pedestrian collisions in the city will be upgraded by March to improve pedestrian safety and reduce accidents and fatalities. The new crosswalk design will focus on providing higher visibility and increasing the setback limit line to better prevent cars from encroaching into the crosswalk.
The Continental Crosswalk, as they're called, features wide stripes of white or yellow paint to make it clear to motorists that they're entering pedestrian territory.
The average cost will be $2,500 per crosswalk improvement. The upgrades will be funded through the city's Measure R funds set aside for pedestrian improvements. If you watched the Tournament of Roses parade on New Year's Day, then you likely caught LA Tourism and Los Angeles World Airport's float, showcasing the new LAX terminal. The float, seen here in a rendering, was created with more than 7,000 fragrant roses and nearly 5,000 carnations. The float, entitled Making Connections, replicates the $1.5 billion new Tom Bradley International Terminal, opening this year. The float also showcased the airport's multicolored pylons, the iconic theme building, as well as a street sign that contains all of 25 of LA's sister cities. No taxpayer funds were used for the float. Otis College of Art and Design's Ben Maltz Gallery is presenting a group exhibition titled Bridging Homeboy Industries. The exhibit features work from 3 artists who share roots in Boyle Heights and who have benefited from the services of Homeboy Industries, which helps formerly gang-involved individuals find employment. The director of galleries and exhibitions at Otis says the artists were former graffiti artists who later turned their lives around and pursued a career in art. The exhibit will be on view through March 23rd. Reseda Recreation Center on Victory Boulevard has a new playground. The playground, which cost around $207,000, was built with cost savings from the newly renovated pool and bathhouse that came under budget.
It was a little run down before, and now it's a nice place to come play. Everything's nice and new and clean and much more functional than it was previously.
The playground has a slew of amenities such as shade structures, a drinking fountain, a rubberized surface, 6 swings, and 3 slides. Disadvantaged youth in the City of Angels are getting a leg up on a brighter future with the opening of the new YWCA campus. Anna Marcos takes us to South LA for the ribbon cutting.
Celebratory cheers fill the air as this community greets the grand opening of the new YWCA urban campus. The YWCA runs Job Corps training programs aimed at giving at-risk young people a shot at jobs. But now this campus in South LA also gives them a place to learn and to live, with state-of-the-art classrooms and dorms.
People deserve an education no matter where they're from, who they are.
It's about giving people second chances. It's about opportunities. It's about reaching out and saying, you know what, I believe in you and you can reach for the stars and follow your dreams.
The biggest standing ovation is reserved for Faye Washington, the force behind the $70 million project.
I have the soul of every young person in this place. And it's a soul that says, if you need and I have it, then it's yours.
It was many years ago that Faye came to my office in Washington, D.C. and said that she had this dream of building this place where young people could come and could develop their skills, to give them a second chance, to give them hope in a better future.
The YWCA helps about 1,200 at-risk young people a year. That's 1,200 more at-risk youth who can now move on to better futures. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
In this week's list of things to do, visiting the LA Zoo in 2013, a lecture all about mid-century modern, and what's better than watching Mary Poppins for free at the museum. The UCLA Film and Television Archive and the Hammer Museum have teamed up for a matinee screening series of new and classic family-friendly films from around the world. And on Sunday, January 13th at 11 a.m., you can catch the Disney classic Mary Poppins at the Hammer Museum, located at 10899 Wilshire Boulevard. Tickets are free and available at the box office, 1 ticket per person on a first-come, first-served basis. Arrival at least a half hour prior to program time is recommended. Go to hammer.ucla.edu for more information. And we're promoting this event a little bit early, as the Los Angeles Public Library's Allowed Lecture Series events tend to sell out quickly. On Thursday, January 17th at 7:15 p.m., join a panel discussion on architecture, photography, and the good life in Cold War California. The talk, titled Mid-Century Modern, will center around the hugely influential photographer Maynard L. Parker, who aimed his lens at the mid-century masterworks of the LA architects and designers whose homes embodied the American dream. The event will be held at the Central Library's Mark Taper Auditorium, located at 630 West 5th Street. Go to lfla.org/allowed for details. And 2012 was a banner year for the Los Angeles Zoo, which boasted nearly 1.6 million visitors. And in 2013, visitors will be able to see some new additions, including 15 baby goats and a colobus monkey born on December 21st. Found throughout the forests of Central Africa, the colobus is one of the most striking primates in the animal kingdom. If you didn't get a chance to visit last year, put that on your New Year's resolution. For more information on the zoo and its exhibits, go to lazoo.org. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you could catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Let's go.
Just a minute, I gotta finish this.
Wait, you're gonna post those pictures of Mary?
Yep. She thinks she's so hot.
But her mom and dad will see them. Her grandmother, her little sister, everyone she knows. It's gonna kill her.
Who cares? Just a couple of pictures. It's no big deal.
No big deal? Don't. This has gotta stop.
Every day, our brave troops and their families stand up for us.
For years, we've asked so much of so few.
Now we have a chance to serve these heroes.
To give time, offer comfort, or lend a hand.
To ease the burden on a military family.
Let's honor their service by volunteering ours.
Sir,
Sergio in Pacoima. You are watching LA City View 35, our city, our channel.
Good morning. Today's date is Friday, January 11th, 2013. I want to welcome you to the Los Angeles City Council. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Okay, with that said, Madam Clerk, I believe we have a quorum. Plus, we've just been joined by Mr. Bill Rosendahl. Could you please call the roll?
Alarcon, Buscaino, Englander, Garcetti, Weezer, Crest, Corcoran, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Zion, Weston, 12 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and it should be noted that our city attorney was here on time. By the hair of the skin of his chinny chin chin. Okay, what's our first order of business?
Approval of the minutes.
Okay, Weezer moves, Englander seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Alarcon moves, Buscaino seconds. Next.
Mr. President, item 1 is an item for which a public hearing has been held. There's a request to refer this matter back to the Planning and Land Use Management Committee.
Okay, without objection, that will be the order. Can we go through the next section?
Items 2 through 11 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, without objection, those items are now before this council. Do we have any cards?
Cards on items 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, and 10.
Okay, members, specials. Members, Mr. Weezer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Number 11 for a substitute motion, please.
Okay. Any other specials? Members? Mr. Zine.
3, please.
3 for Mr. Zine.
And 10.
I think 10 has already been held. Slow your roll, Zine, and it's going to be okay. All right. Is there anything left to vote on, Madam Clerk?
Items 5 and 8.
Okay, let us, on those items, open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay. Mr. Labange, are you ready? I guess, Madam Clerk, we could move into our presentation portion. So with that, Mr. Labange, to honor Korean American Day.
I want you to be at the post right now. I know you have a great feeling about this day. Mr. Garcetti, please join, as well as Councilmember Buscaino, who the Korean Friendship Bell is. Just recently, in 2003, the United States Congress stood and said that we should have a Korean American Day. And this date, the 11th day of January, was selected as to recognize Korean American Day. And in Los Angeles, it reflects the beauty of our diversity, as well known by Mr. Weezer, who represents the Pueblo of Los Angeles, where the city was first founded. Way back years ago, in 1903, 102 pioneer immigrants traveled across the Pacific Ocean to the United States. And what was one of the greatest events just recently, not this year, but just a few short years ago, was the centennial of the Korean American immigration to the United States, and the parade in Pasadena, and the Rose Parade, and a beautiful float came down Colorado Boulevard, Mr. Zine, when it saluted the great migrants, immigrants, new Americans, and the 100th centennial anniversary. But today we want to stand here and honor these people. It's so special, and what's so special is when you look at our city of diversity, you realize that at Jefferson in Vermont, Mr. Parks, was the first Korean American grocery store many, many years ago. And then as they came and many institutions were formed, up Vermont Avenue they went and dominated the Olympic Boulevard corridor. And then they dominate the Wilshire Center corridor. And then they dominated and got Koreatown Place with Mr. John Farrell, the late great city council president, and the late great Mayor Tom Bradley. The only thing they forgot to do, Madam Clerk, is get the paperwork. Because when our great friends from Little Bangladesh said they wanted a little bit of peace, we had to go to town and get all the formality to really establish and certify Koreatown. So it's so special to be here today to honor you. I'm special with my friends because every morning when I'm in Griffith Park, it is Namsung North when you climb that mountain. Namsung, Mr. president is that great mountain in the heart of Seoul that so many Koreans climb every day because they believe in good health. And in Griffith Park, it's Namsung North because they climb by the hundreds every day. I want to see you tomorrow in the morning up on that mountain. So here we are, special day, Korean American Day, and I'm honored to bring us all together here. But I want to call on two of my colleagues. First and foremost, Mr. Garcetti. I didn't like all Mr. Rosendahl about redistricting because I lost the heart of part of the 4th, which is Koreatown, but there's no borders in any parts of our districts. Let me introduce Mr. Garcetti, who was designated the representative for that part of the area as well, and ask you for some remarks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Labange, our greatest cheerleader and our unofficial head of state, man who has not only always championed the Korean community, but I'm so proud to be with my friends today in the Korean American community. Annyeonghaseyo. Hello, good morning, and it is wonderful to celebrate a century, 1 century of progress, of friendship, of accomplishments, and we look how far the Korean American community in this city has come. Today, the Korean American community is responsible for 7 of the 10 largest banks that are based in Los Angeles. Today, their responsibility in the garment industry, in our real estate markets, in our faith community with the great churches that are here. When we look at the contributions of Korean American staffers that are here in this office, with general managers who have led departments, with folks who are candidates right now for city council to possibly join this horseshoe, we see with each step how the Korean American community has not been part of the community. They are literally the geographic heart of the community. And we celebrate since 1903 the 100 years of contributions to a safer, more prosperous, and a deeper friendship between both our city and Korea. And I've been very proud to represent this city in Korea, to go to the Blue House and to meet with the president of South Korea and to talk about how in international trade and in tourism and investment we can see what is happening. So I wish you all nothing but the best on this day. Everybody should go out and have some Korean barbecue tonight to celebrate. We should make sure that we all, every day, thank the Korean American community for being at the core of what Los Angeles is. And this is one of the great Korean cities of the world. Los Angeles is a great Korean city. And thank you all for making it such a beautiful city of angels today. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Garcetti, I celebrate with Korean barbecue on a weekly basis. Okay.
Weekly basis.
With that said, Mr. Huizar.
And before Mr. Huizar comes on our presentation today, Joe.
Oh, I didn't see Mr. Buscaino.
Councilman with the Korean Friendship Bell. Big Joe, come up here right now. Give Joe a hand now.
Joey B.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Tom. I'm pleased really to stand here with the Korean American community in the city of Los Angeles. And most recently, my son took up Taekwondo. And he is doing very well. Not only he now speaks Korean, he knows how to count in Korean as well. And we're pleased to be home to the Korean Friendship Bell in San Pedro and to carry on the traditions of the Korean Friendship Bell and its nonprofit that ensures that the Korean Friendship Bell has been restored and looks beautiful today. And I want to speak just quickly about the importance of the Korean Friendship Bell that sits on it's a pagoda-style stone structure which was constructed on the site by 30 craftsmen flown in from Korea, and it took them 10 months to put it together. The pavilion is supported by 12 columns representing the 12 designs of the Oriental Zodiac. Animals stand guard on the base of each column. This bell was donated in 1976 to the people of Los Angeles by the people of the Republic of Korea to celebrate the bicentennial of the United States independence, honor the veterans of the Korean War, and to consolidate traditional friendship between the two countries. As a kid growing up in San Pedro, my family, my parents often took me to the Korean Bell, and I'm finding myself today taking my kids, my wife, to the Korean Friendship Bell. So I want to stand and acknowledge this resolution as we celebrate Korean American Day here in the city of Los Angeles. Thank you, Mr. Labange. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President, and to our unofficial head of state, as Mr. Garcetti has just christened you, Mr. Tom LaBonge, thank you for helping us bring this to the City Council, Mr. Garcetti, Mr. Buscaino. And, I was in Korea this past November. It was a trip that I took with Senator Kevin De Leon to meet with government and business officials about bringing more investment to the city of Los Angeles. And I think we've always had a strong connection in terms of culture. But as you look at the economic opportunities and trade, it's getting only better and better. There are Korean companies looking at investing in renewable energy for the city of Los Angeles. We have the second largest hotel that will go up here in downtown Los Angeles that is an investment made by Chairman Cho of Korean Airlines. And the list goes on and on. This relationship will only get stronger. My two favorite parts of my trip were, number one, visiting the demilitarized zone. That was just an amazing sight to see. And secondly, Mr. President, I got to eat Korean food every day, not just weekly, every day. That was my second favorite part of the trip. Thank you very much.
Mr. Reyes.
안녕하세요. Good morning. It's great to have you here. I am very fortunate to be able to represent a portion of Koreatown. But I also have one of the largest churches, Youngnak Church. And it's a church that's been very active in the district. I have many other churches as well. But it's just as important is when we look at the rebirth, especially after that unfortunate incident in 1993, when all the churches and businesses came together and were able to establish a level of rapport and community that has been very fruitful and giving to Lincoln Heights and Cypress Park and Northeast. More profoundly is the role that you played along the Los Angeles River in your cleanups and how you brought environmental issues to the present. And having the engineers from Seoul, Korea come here and show us how they took out a whole freeway in one of the largest cities in the country and bring back the river and create a healthy environment for future generations is an engineering feat and a political feat and an economic one that we should learn from. So I'm hoping that as you continue to be a great part of this beautiful fabric that's so diverse, the richness you bring will be with us forever. So I thank you for your generosity, your heart, but more importantly, your sense of community in making everyone improve their quality of life because of your sense of compassion for this great country and the pride you have in your own culture. We can all share in it. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Rosendahl. Mr. Rosendahl.
One of the things that we are so grateful for here in Southern California is that we are truly the megalopolis of the earth and the blender of the planet. We have more people from every other country on earth than any other place on the planet. New York and us are anchors for the whole rest of the world who want freedom, who want peace, who want the democracy to work. And when I look at the new big shot in North Korea, and I'm spending a lot of time analyzing him, looking at is it his wife or his girlfriend, what's going on here. More importantly, I want to know when North Korea and South Korea can get the democracy that you in South Korea obviously appreciate, and the relationship to the United States with your brothers and sisters in North Korea. So if we can make this a special moment of unity for North and South Korea, with enlightenment coming to the North that doesn't exist, and hopefully all of us here can help bring that positive energy to North Korea, and we can get on with a more unified, civilized world to live in. But congratulations on the 100th anniversary with the United States. Thank you.
Mr. Zine.
Always on time. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Tom and Joe, for this, and Mr. Eric Garcetti. I had the opportunity and pleasure of visiting Korea, a beautiful country, a beautiful community, and it was with a trip from the city, along with the mayor, delegation, and it was a highlight of the experience the activity there, the prosperity there, the kindness of the people. It was just incredible. An opportunity I'll never forget. So I want to join with my colleagues in acknowledging and congratulating. And the lady with the two flags, that's very symbolic of the United States of America and Korea and all the other cultures, because we are a city that's unique in this world, where we have the diversity. We have people from all over the world that come here. There's going to be a motion that's coming up following Korea on Lebanon, another part of this world. And this city has been able to bring people from all different cultures together in a very positive fashion. So as we celebrate and we acknowledge, we have Korean communities all over the city of Los Angeles. There's a large Korean community in the San Fernando Valley. I know there's Koreatown, but Mr. Englander's district up in the 12th district, near the 118 freeway, that area, Granada Hills, Porter Ranch, many, many Korean families, very, very productive people of our community, many church activities, very involved in the communities. So I congratulate you and join in the celebration. And the wonderful, we should have you folks come on camera that are wearing the traditional clothing, because you're over here on the side. You should be out there so people can see the beautiful clothing that they have. We can get you, why don't you come out here, stand next to Mr. Labange, so they can get you on camera, the beautiful clothing that you're wearing today. I mean, people in Los Angeles should see the beautiful clothing that they're wearing in the celebration and acknowledge that. Yeah, we don't want to keep you over the sidelines. So again, congratulations. It's a wonderful day to celebrate. And Mr. Labange and my colleagues, Mr. Garcetti, Mr. Joe, where did Joe go? You're hiding behind everybody. Congratulations for this establishment and to making it happen. God bless you all, and thank you.
Dennis, say, kamsahamnida, Dennis.
Mr. Englander.
Yes, thank you. And Mr. Dime, can I call you that, Mr. Dime, now instead of Mr. Zine? Never short on a dime. Thank you for that. 2012 Korean American Day is truly a terrific day to celebrate, and I too want to stand with my colleagues and say congratulations. I actually represent the highest population of any council district, the most residents, the Korean residents in the entire city of Los Angeles. And my staff is a reflection of that. In fact, because of that, and I think it's incredibly important in the relationships that we have with the community, that 20%, in fact more than 20% of my staff is Korean. And to reflect that and the culture that you bring and the work ethic and the ethics overall. But, you know, it's interesting. We recently had a meeting with the Korean Senior Center and some other folks that we work with regularly in my district. And I said, we want you more involved in boards and philanthropic activities and getting involved in local charities. And they said, you know, we have three most important things in our lives right now. And the first is religion. The second is family. And the third is business. And nothing gets in the way of all three are equal. And we make sure that we spend time with family. We make sure that we focus on good education, good community, and a good local society for our children to grow up in. And we care about that very much. And I will tell you, I have yet to see another culture as strong, and the binds that the Korean people have is really incredible. And so I want to say thank you. My hat's off to you. God bless you. 100 years. We'll be here again, right, Tom, for the next 100 year? You're going to be here joining us for that, and every year after. Congratulations on this terrific and wonderful event. So, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Labange, back to you to conclude.
Mr. President, we have with the foundation here, please welcome Vincent Kim, President of the Korean American Foundation of Los Angeles Chapter.
Thank you. On behalf of the Korean American Foundation, I'd like to thank City Council, President Herb Wesson, and the members of the City Council, and the residents of Los Angeles. Korean American Foundation is lay groundwork for the resolution and the proclamation of the Korean American Day since 2004 at the State Assembly and the Senate of the California, and also 2005 I remember I heard that the President Herb Wesson was the Speaker of the Assembly at the time, 2004.
I was.
Yes, and the 2005 Korean American Day was made a resolution at the National Congress and the Senate of this country. So Korean American Day is the significant day, a reason to be celebrated by Koreans, not only Koreans, but also all minorities and all other races in this country. So as we celebrate the Korean American Day, maybe this day is a role model of all the minorities that as the Korean Americans was recognized as a contributor of this society, and they made a great work for this country. So I'd like to share our national president, Barack Obama's letter we received on January 7th. I'd like to share with you today. I send greetings to all those observing Korean American Day. Bound by the common values of our people, the United States and the Republic of Korea have an unshakable alliance that has served as linchpin for peace and security in the Asia-Pacific region for more than 60 years. As we move forward with our work to create a safer, freer, and more prosperous world, I am proud to say the bonds between our two nations are stronger than they have ever been. Generations of Korean Americans have helped make our country what it is today. From starting businesses to transforming the arts and sciences to serving our nation at home and abroad, their contributions embody the promise of our union. As you celebrate the indelible ways Korean Americans have shaped our national life, I wish you all the best. Barack Obama. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, and congratulations.
And also we have with us today Sang-Won Park, Dr. Park, who we all know.
Dr. Park, my friend.
Big hand, National President of the Korean American Foundation, USA, for remarks, and also introduction of a very special guest. Please, Dr. Park.
Okay, thank you. Happy New Year, all of Los Angeles Council members, especially Honorable President Herb Wesson and Councilman Honorable Mr. Tom Robbins. Every year, Los Angeles Council proclaimed the Korean American Day. Thanks so much. This year's 10th anniversary. Also, let me introduce delegation from Korea, 4 persons. Okay, the right side, they will perform the Korean and customs. The Min-soo Kim, please give the applause. And the sister and Nam-yeon Kim. Another person is Eun Kyung-chae, he is a team leader. Also, and Gwangju City Councilwoman, and In-hwa Hong. Now, she will speak instead of me by Korean language.
예, 반갑습니다. 저는 강주광역시의 홍인아 행정자치위원장입니다. 먼저 LA시의 의장님을 비롯하여 시의 의원 여러분 정말 고맙습니다. 특히
In translation, it's very special to be here in the council chambers and to be with President Herb Wesson.
미주 한인 역사가 110년입니다. 특히 LA는 우리나라 지도자인 도산 안창호 선생님이 독립운동을 활발히 벌였던 곳이고 LA는 오늘날 가장 많은 한국인들이 거주하는 도시가 되었습니다. 강주 역사는 약 130여 년 정도 됩니다. 강주는 역동적인 에너지로 한국의 민주주의 역사 발전을 견인하고 있으며 또 세계 비엔날레 같은 아시아 문화 중심 도시로 힘차게 도약해 가고 있습니다. 또 매년 5월 강주는 세계 인권 도시 포럼 등을 통해서 자유, 평등, 정의라는 메시지를 끊임없이 발신하고 있습니다. 특히 5.18 민주화 운동 기록 등 세계 기록문화유산으로 유네스코에 등재되면서 세계 민주주의 역사의 한 면을 기록하고 있어 자랑스럽게 생각합니다. 저는 강주 광역시의회 행정자치위원장으로 미주 한인 110주년 기념식과 미주 한인 10주년 기념행사를 계기로 5.18 민주화 운동이 LA 시의회와 비롯한 LA 교포사회 그리고 미국 전역에 알려지고 더 나아가 세계 인권 증진을 위한 노력을 위해 기꺼이 마중물이 되겠습니다. 고맙습니다.
감사합니다.
Okay, the Councilwoman Inwa Hong spoke the speech, but the sentence will translate by people later. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And here we go, Doctor. It's special with Busan being a sister city and all our friendship. On behalf of the City Council of Los Angeles, the mayor, we hereby proclaim this Korean American Day in the city of Los Angeles. Here, here. You take a picture. Get up here, guys. Come on up here. Get in here. Good job. Get in here, Joe. Good job.
Again, congratulations to you all. Okay, with that said, Madam Clerk, it's my understanding that on item 3, Mr. Zine wishes to continue that item. How long would he like to continue that item?
For 30 days, which is February 12th.
Okay, and it's my understanding also that on item 11, Mr. Weezar has, we've circulated amendments and we can just, I believe, take it up. So, Madam Clerk, have we, have those amendments been circulated?
Yes, a substitute motion has been circulated.
Okay, so let's vote on the substitute motion then. Would that be the appropriate action?
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay, so now we're going to vote on the substitute motion on item 11. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Mr. Zine, are you ready for item 10? Well, let's get to it, my dear friend.
Well, this is a motion, and I think Mr. Garcetti will be joining me in number 10. Number 10.
Yes.
You want me to go to the speaker?
Yes, you can do that if you'd like.
Thank you.
In fact, as we're doing that, I've got cards on that item. Robert Andrews, Amir Matar, and gosh, I cannot make out this other name, from the World Lebanese Cultural Union, and Ferris, LA Cedars Rotary Club. So if you guys could please come forward. Okay, please. The first. So, Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. Are we on? Yes, we are. Thank you.
Yes, you're on.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, it's with great pleasure that I'm joined by my colleague, Council Member Eric Garcetti. We had an opportunity, and thanks to Mr. Garcetti's world travels as the Rhodes Scholar, we had the opportunity to travel to Beirut, Lebanon, and to establish a sister city with Los Angeles and Beirut, Lebanon. We met some wonderful people. Being of the Lebanese ancestry, born and raised in L.A., but my relatives came over on a ship from Beirut through Ellis Island, and it's always that homeland as Ms. Krikorian with the Armenian community, and those of us who've been able to enjoy the blessings of America, the struggles that our families went through, and the travels. You can imagine traveling from the Middle East on a boat in the 1800s to Ellis Island, going through the process to the Promised Land. As we see in our great Korean community, we have our great Middle Eastern community, and part of that is the Lebanese community. The World Lebanese Cultural Union is based in Los Angeles. They are donating a bronze sculpture of a renowned author and poet, and Mr. Garcetti. It's going to be a little larger than that, I believe. Is it?
It is.
It is.
Much larger.
Larger than that. Gibran, he's a poet, a very world-known poet, commemorating the 130th anniversary of his birth in 1883 in the city, which is the present-day Lebanon. Bashar was the city at the name at the time in the 1800s. Arrived at his family in the United States in 1895. He began school. Education included studies, prep school in Beirut, Lebanon, art school in Paris, France. And over the course, he passed away after 48 years. His arts and writings elevated him to the third best poet of all time. First published in 1923, his most notable work in English is The Prophet, and the book has 26 poetic essays which have never been out of print, translated into more than 40 languages, and memorials in his memory established in Washington, D.C. and Boston, as well as park, schools, and streets dedicated throughout the world. And it's a $32,000 that this bronze sculpture that is going to be presented to the City of Los Angeles. What this motion calls for is that our city find an appropriate location for it. We do have the area where we have the sister cities across the street from City Hall. Beirut, Lebanon is one of those sister cities, and there's 3 benches that have been provided by the people from the Beirut, from the Lebanese community. And here's one of the statements regarding, in this book, looking through this book and finding, and this was given me by Mr. Perry, who somehow got it somewhere. Mr. Perry was on that trip to Beirut, Lebanon, the treasured writings. Are you a politician asking for what your country can do for you, or a zealous one asking what you can do for your country? If you are the first, then you are a parasite. If the second, you are an oasis in the desert. And the people of the Middle East that are very, very close, warm, wonderful people, and I really connect the Lebanese people with the Armenian population because they both have great traditions, but the treasured writings, and you can see this book as one of the many books that have been published, but what we want to do is bring this forward, the group forward. They're here today on this motion, that we would grant this motion and we would accept this $32,000 gift, this sculpture, to be placed somewhere in memory of this great poet. And with that, Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Zion, and thank you for doing this. You know, it was a man who is now the mayor of Newark, Cory Booker, who, when I was a student at Oxford University, one evening after an important birthday that I had, came and handed me a copy of The Prophet. It was his present to me. And like so many who have seen the writings of this great poet, it changed my life. It changed the way that we look at the universe around us. It changed the way that we feel about our fellow human being. And it was a very proud day when I was able to go with Mr. Zion to Lebanon and to go to Bashiri and to see to see the museum. No, not different. To see the museum and the final resting place of Gibran. And, you know, one of the we all know The Prophet, which is his best-known works, but one of the quotations I wanted to say from Sand and Foam in 1926, which is maybe fitting for this horseshoe, is he said, "Half of what I say is meaningless, but I say it so that the other half may reach you." We should be so lucky to have at least 50%, but it is certainly something which touches us. And all his insight, his wisdom, his kind of eternal humanness is something that we very proudly will celebrate in this city, which is a great Lebanese city. And so thank you to the Lebanese American community, my great friends, my dear brothers and sisters who have been a part of making sure that Los Angeles remembers our roots to Lebanon. And for Mr. Zion, our first and proudest Lebanese American council member. Thank you very much.
Honorable ladies and gentlemen of the council, my name is Amira Matar, and I am here on behalf of the Lebanese American community in Southern California. This community is well known to you from past activities that have benefited and solidified the bonds between of Los Angeles and Lebanon. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to address you as a member of the World Lebanese Cultural Union on a motion of an important monument of a great American and an accomplished Lebanese poet, philosopher, universalist thinker, and artist. Gibran, like I echoed Councilman Zion and Garcetti, was born in Lebanon exactly 130 years ago. His birthday was January 6, 1883. He lived most of his life in the U.S. He's known all over the world. Again, I echo everyone else for his eternal book, The Prophet, which exceeded in sales only by Shakespeare and Lao Tzu. In Lebanon, he is still celebrated as a literary hero, and his museum is an attraction for tourism. How commendable and admirable that the City of Angels, and a compliment to your vision as the City Fathers, to dedicate a memorial to this great human being to enrich and expand the cultural diversity of our great city. The story behind this testimonial will complement the splendor of the city of Los Angeles. I thank you.
Mr. Do you have any other speakers on the cards?
We have about 5 speakers.
Okay, you want to call them? I think they're standing with us.
Robert S. Andrews.
Robert.
Thank you, Councilman Zion, Councilman Garcetti, and members of the City Council for this wonderful tribute. You're honoring one of the most beloved poets, artists, and humanitarians of the 20th century, Khalil Gibran. Because of his far-reaching appeal and his literary contributions to the United States, Congress approved the formation of a Khalil Gibran Memorial and Meditation Garden in 1984, located on Massachusetts Avenue in Washington, D.C., across from the British Embassy. Upon its completion in 1991, President George H.W. Bush presided over the dedication of the Khalil Gibran Memorial. In 2011, the Khalil Gibran Memorial underwent a $500,000 renovation, coinciding with its 20th anniversary. A rededication of the memorial took place on May 5th, 2011, at the memorial itself. I mention that in case you're in Washington, it's better than new. So make sure you pay it. It's a meditation garden with many of his sayings and fountains and beautifully displayed. And rather than me continue on my narrative about him, I'd love to repeat and address the council and the audience and the city of Los Angeles with two of his works, his words. The first one goes, quote, "I love you, my brother, whoever you are, whether you worship in your church, kneel in your temple, or pray in your mosque. You and I are children of one faith, fingers of a loving hand of one supreme being, a hand extended to all." And second, his famous "I believe," written in 1923. "I believe in you." He's talking about citizenship here, which is very appropriate. "I believe in you. I believe in your destiny. I believe you are contributors to this new civilization. I believe you have inherited from your forefathers an ancient dream, a song, a prophecy, which you can proudly lay as a gift of gratitude upon the lap of America. I believe you can say to the founders of this great nation, here I am, a youth, a young tree whose roots were plucked from the hills of Lebanon, yet I am deeply rooted here, and I would be fruitful. And I believe that you can say to Abraham Lincoln, the blessed, Jesus of Nazareth touched your lips when you spoke, and guided your hand when you wrote, and I shall uphold all that you have said and all that you have written. I believe you can say to Emerson and Whitman and James, in my veins runs the blood of the poets and the wise men of old, and it's my desire to come to you and receive, but I shall not come with empty hands. I believe that even as your fathers came to this land to produce riches, you were born here to produce riches by intelligence, by labor. And I believe it is in you to be a good citizen. And what is it to be a good citizen? It is to acknowledge the other person's rights before asserting your own, but always to be conscious of your own. It is to be free in thought and deed, but is also to know that your freedom is subject to the other person's freedom. It is to create the useful and beautiful with your own hands and to admire what others have created in love and with faith. It is to produce wealth by labor and only by labor and spend less than you have produced, that your children may not be dependent on the state for support when you are no more. It is to stand before the towers of New York, Washington, Chicago, and San Francisco, saying in your heart, I am a descendant of the people that built Damascus, Byblos, Tyre, Sidon, and Antioch, and now I'm here to build with you, and I will. It is proud to be an American, and is also to be proud that their fathers and mothers came from a land which God laid his gracious hand and raised his messengers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We do have other cards. Amira Mohtar, I believe. Mohar? Amira, okay.
She spoke.
Makunim? Friend Makunim? McKinnon?
Yeah. Thank you, our President, Mr. Garcetti. Thank you, Mr. Dennis, for the motion you are supported. Honorable President, Mr. Garcetti, honorable members of the great Los Angeles Council.
We are here as World Lebanese Culture Union and as a Lebanese community members in Los Angeles to tell you that our union and our community will be highly honored if your Honorable Council accepted the donation of a bronze sculpture statue of a great Lebanese American citizen who is a philosopher, author, writer, artist, literary hero, and the poet Gibran Khalil Gibran. Gibran Khalil Gibran is very well known worldwide, especially at the English and Arabic-speaking worlds, where he is considered the best-selling poet of all times behind Shakespeare and Lao Tzu, particularly after he wrote his book, The Prophet, in 1923. Installing this statue of Gibran Khalil Gibran in a beautiful corner or a beautiful street in Los Angeles will add educational and cultural touches to the beautiful and blessed city. As well, it will enrich and promote the American values. Gibran wrote in his famous book, The Prophet, the following words, which I shall read it to your august council. I quote, "Let there be spaces in your togetherness, and let the winds of the heavens dance between you. Love one another, and let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Fill each other's cup." Unquote. No doubt all of you admire Gibran's writing and will be highly appreciated from the Honorable President and all the honorable members of this highly respected council to find an appropriate space in this beautiful city, Los Angeles, for a beautiful statue of Gibran Khalil Gibran. Thank you on behalf of the World Lebanese Culture Union and the Lebanese community. Thanking you for listening to us. God bless you all, and God bless the city of the angels. Fareed Makarim, ex-World Vice President. Thank you.
Thank you. Last speaker card, we have Ferris Ware.
Ferris Wavy. Thank you,
Wavy,
Council
okay.
President and Council members. I am really honored to be here today and to see what Gibran has laid for us. Ever since the Phoenicians, when they used to go out on their boats, and wherever they go, they become part of the fabric of that society they're in. They become contributors to that society. And this is what the Lebanese have done all over the world, and this is what we are proud to do here. We are Angelinos. We are part of the fabric of this city, and this is why we are honored to have Gibran, have his statue be placed somewhere in the city, to have the kids of the city read his words, because his words are about peace, togetherness, and what we can accomplish together. And as he said, friendship is like a climber to the mountain. You see it clearer when you're further away from it. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you. I believe that concludes all the speaker cards.
Thank you. And if we could get the vote, and hopefully that'll be unanimous, and then we will celebrate.
Well, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. Okay. Do we have another presentation if they are ready? Okay. Our next presentation will be presented by Councilmember Jan Perry.
Thank you.
I know I'm working that way. Nobody has mentioned anything about the homeless. It's a stupid society. You have said nothing about the homeless in all your beautiful presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Perry.
Stand next to me. Today, I didn't realize we're that close. Okay. Today I'm happy to welcome representatives from 24th Street Theater. 24th Street Theater is a professional place and a first-class arts organization dedicated to providing a public benefit through their award-winning outreach programs, free community events, gallery exhibits, and teacher training programs. And I am here and have asked them to come here to recognize them for their over 15 years of commitment to engage some of the most underrepresented communities in our city with arts and art education. They have served an astonishing over 1 million students in 30,000 classrooms through their nationwide Enter Stage Right DVD partnership, in addition to the tens of thousands of Los Angeles students that have experienced the arts through their Enter Stage Right field trips. Recently, 24th Street became the first and only Los Angeles theater to win the Theater Communication Group's Peter Zeisler Award for Outstanding Achievement in American Theater. Their efforts have included partnering with the University of Southern California to provide free after-school programming for 75 inner-city kids for 30 weeks every single school year, creating award-winning Spanish-language productions for neighborhood families that have performed across North, South, and Central America, and providing inspirational professional development workshops teaching educators to integrate basic performance techniques in the classroom. So I would like to thank them for 15 years of dedication to making a difference in the lives of young people and audiences around the world. And I want to welcome Debbie Devine and Jay McAdams and ask them to say just a few words. Thank you. Thank you, Jay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, Councilwoman Perry, and to the rest of you. I know, in these budget-strapped days, many of you have had to stand up and fight for the arts in the city and for cultural affairs funding. I thank Councilwoman Perry for recognizing the importance that arts organizations play in the city. We're a big part of the economic engine, organizations large and small. We do police work by keeping kids out of trouble and out of jail. We do education work by keeping kids in school. We do social work. Thank you, Councilman Reyes, also one of our supporters. We're honored to be serving the school district, LA Unified. We're one of their largest partners. It's just been an honor. I'm sure if any of you were in 24th Street Theater's lobby on any given day throughout the day, you'd see us providing social services to homeless people. You'd see us buying train tickets for people who need to get to their probation hearings. You'd see work that is not the run-of-the-mill work for an arts organization, and ours is not the only arts organization doing that type of work in the city. So thank you for recognizing we're not just doing art for art's sake, arts for the elite. It's an important role that arts organizations play in the city, and we're really honored to be doing that work for the people of Los Angeles. So thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Reyes.
I just wanted to rise, and colleagues, I want to put this into context. Back in the early 90s, there was an amazing group of people that wanted to address the needs of the local children. And back then, Councilman Hernandez was working the block grants and cultivated a relationship where back then it was even kind of dangerous to walk along those streets. Today, you have an amazing production, and my hat goes off to Councilman Perry in making sure we continue recognizing the good work, and to have that tenacity to stick it out all these years and to see you bloom today is just a wonderful feeling. So congratulations to you, And thank you, Councilman Perry, for recognizing them for their hard work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your Valentine and all of your support, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Rosendahl.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing. You know, when you see good people doing good things, you can't help but say thank you. And what you've been doing for young people is such a critical thing at such an early point in their lives to get the kind of love and support that's far beyond art. It's part of the whole human condition and situation. And so relationships develop, friendships develop, hope develops, inspiration, aspirations, everything comes out of that kind of mentoring and support system. So for me, it's a no-brainer to see this kind of joy. And Jan Perry, once again, demonstrating your concern and sensitivity to the little folks that don't get the kind of support they should be getting, and kids at risk, and the homeless, and others. And you've demonstrated that leadership. So thank you for bringing them, and thank you for all you do. Bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, let's give them one last round of applause. Thank you for all that you do. Let me get... Madam Clerk, next item. Oh, Mr. Garcetti didn't do his presentation. Okay, well, let's move to the next item. He's taking photos. So what is the next item? Okay. Mr. Garcetti's here.
Item number 7, I believe we have before us. Colleagues, I rise today to ask for your support in protecting the Van Nuys Airport Aviation Training Program. We're doing this one? We're going. Oh, we have another presentation.
Mr. Garcetti, you had a presentation. It's my
sorry,
understanding.
my mistake. I thought we were on item number 7. Okay.
That flight's been delayed.
That flight has been delayed. All right. Let's do a better vision. Come on forward. Tom, come on. Join. So proud to welcome here today, colleagues. We honor the Better Vision for Children Foundation, which is a nonprofit charity founded by Tom Cataldo 26 years ago. And I'm so honored to have Tom here today with his colleagues, his friends, family. The Better Vision for Children Foundation provides free eye screenings to children, and its aim is to prevent and cure partial and total blindness resulting from amblyopia, is that right? Amblyopia, autism, diabetes, and eye cancer. Mr. Cataldo is a successful inventor who came up with a low-cost machine to test for amblyopia and retinoblastoma, which are linked to child blindness. And we know early on in a child's life, if you are diagnosed and if this can be prevented, your entire life has changed. Studies have shown that up to 35% of American children start school with undetected vision problems that inhibit their learning. And we sometimes wonder why 2 or 3 years later, children who have had trouble learning begin to drop out, their grades go down. Oftentimes it's simply because they have not been diagnosed. And currently only 3.3% of preschool children receive professional vision screenings. So I want to thank Tom for leading the fight to make sure that that percentage does not stay where it is, that the undiagnosed trauma that can come from these conditions goes treated. And I commend Better Vision for Children on their efforts toward the detection and cure of vision problems for our children, and to encourage everyone to support their goals. And it gives us great pride, together with the mayor, this entire city council, to be able to provide this certificate of thanks, a resolution from the city council here today for BVC, Better Vision for Children Foundation, for 26 incredible years of work. Please, with a round of applause, welcome Tom Cataldo and thank him for the great work that he has done. Congratulations. And it is all yours. Go, please.
You've said everything I wanted to say, so but I have a few more words. I'm running out of voice, which probably is a good thing. I did want to just elaborate a little bit on what Eric has said. We are dealing with what is almost certainly the biggest preventable medical problem there is out there, And it's not just amblyopia, not just retinoblastoma, which is a horrible thing. The children mostly always die because we don't get to them early enough. Die by age 3, thereabouts, painful death. But we also can see whether a child just needs a pair of glasses. You'd be amazed at how many kids get into the first, second, third grade and can't see what's going on until they get a pair of glasses. And by that time, they've fallen behind. They can't catch up. It's a terrible thing. It's to give you some idea, just a quick idea as to how bad it is. Here in L.A., about 10 years ago, the Optometric Review of Optometry published a cover story on the children's vision crisis. It was a crisis that's worse now. But here, among other things, they found Lions Clubs, not us, in West L.A. that 47% of these kids they tested flunked the test. In another test back in Norfolk, Virginia, and they're saying here inner city kids fare much worse than the peer group, they found that 51 out of 59 children failed at least one subtest of the New York State Optometric Vision Screening Battery. Nothing is worse than this when it comes to getting our children on a level playing field. I just have to tell you one little experience I had in my own life. I started off at the beginning with one form of amblyopia that is the most common form of blindness in the world. And the cure for this was discovered by Hippocrates back in ancient Greece. You cover the strong eye with a patch to make the weak eye work, but it only works well at age 1 or 2 or 3. By the time the kids get to age 4 or 5, they don't like the patch, they want to take it off, and we just keep doing the same thing. But there are better ways of preventing this, but we don't do it. We cover the kids' eyes when they get up into the 3rd and 4th grade, and that's just impossible because the damage is done by age 5. It's irreversible. It happened with me, and then, as very often happens with the children that wind up with one eye because they have no depth perception, which is kind of important no matter what you want to do. I got into the Navy after trying a couple of times back in World War II, and then I lost vision of the other eye because I didn't have the depth perception. I had an accident there, and that's what happens to people with vision disabilities. I just have to quote a couple of things that were discovered by the federal government years ago when they came up with a study that Eric just mentioned, where 1/3 of the children start school with an undiscovered vision problem that will affect their learning. They also found that comparing visually impaired children with normally sighted children, that the dropout rate was double for the visually impaired children. Amazing. And also, worse than that was that when the kids get into the job market, only 29% were competitively employed. The rest of them were on a dole of some kind. It's inexcusable. This is all preventable stuff, all of it. And the prevention for my kind of amblyopia, believe it or not, is an eye patch, $1.50 patch. The other forms have to be dealt with surgically, so we have to get the doctors to help out once we've uncovered the problems. I could go on and on and on, but I don't want to do that. I appreciate your time. I am so grateful that you've done this beautiful thing, not for the foundation, but for the children of this city. Over 300,000 children here that need this badly, and we have to get together. I would like to think that each district would form some kind of at least have a point person where we could get some help in getting to the sponsors, because we are not asking the city for money. We'd like to get it down the road somewhere, but we are not asking the parents for money. Better Vision for Children Foundation, we have to raise the money. So we need your help in doing that. We need sponsors from the corporate community, from philanthropists, from anybody that wants to help this great cause.
The website, if people want to go to it.
The website, by the way, is bettervisionforchildren.org. No "the" in there. bettervisionforchildren.org. And thanks again. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. We go back and take a group picture in the back.
Thank you, Mr. Garcetti. Okay, now, the next item, Madam Clerk, is item 2, correct?
Yes.
Okay, if I could have Arnold Sachs come forward, John Walsh, and Dalhouse Dude. Come on, Mr. Walsh, you're the closest.
John Walsh, blogging at Hollywood Highlands, HIGHLANDS.org, or go to Walsh at thefrontpage.com. This concerns, again, our friends at REAP, and these concern property that has been renters. It concerns renters' rights. We're 100% in favor of what you do, and stay tuned today. Don't go away. I'm going to say something, and so will Bill, that will rock this building. Rock it. Because we have anti-gay. It's going to concern
Stay on the subject.
Garcetti
Stay on the subject.
and anti-gay. Bye.
Okay, Mr. Dude, or no, Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Arnold Sachs. Another REAP segment on the agenda. I'm still waiting, actually, for the enforcement of the Foreclosure Violation Act that you so wonderfully legislated in council chambers. The legislation that allows you, the city, to collect $1,000 a day.
Mr. President, he is not talking about the rent escrow.
Stay on the REAP, Mr. Sachs.
You have here a REAP Act that allows the city to collect for violations for REAP. You have another policy for foreclosure homes.
But this is on REAP, Arnold. Just stay on REAP.
Different, sir, but the idea here is, one is a nickel and dime operation. The other, you set the violations at $1,000 per violation.
You can talk about that during general public comment, but on this, let's talk about REAP.
Stay on the subject, Mr. President. This involves the housing department, and the housing department would be involved in foreclosed property.
Okay, Mr. Sachs, that's it. Okay, Mr. Dalhouse Dude, come up. You have to speak on the subject, Arnold, and you know that. No, you're not. You're trying you're trying us here, and you're disrupting the meeting. Mr. Dalhouse Dude, on item 2.
Yes, the subject is something about housing once again. Yes, it deals with housing, doesn't it? If you don't fix up your property, the city has the right to collect the rent until you fix the place. But if we had a society where everybody has a place and they don't pay rent, they won't have all these violations. You specialize on red tape, and the red tape provides you with a lot of revenue. And people do not need all this red tape. The REAP is more like the rape. I would read it as rape. We're raping everybody. We need a different way to do business. All these escrow accounts, all these, what do you call them? What he was saying, when you throw people on the street for nothing.
Mr. President, he is not talking about the rent escrow program.
I know. Come on, Mr. Dude. Try to get back on topic.
It has to do with housing, right?
No, but it's a specific issue where it relates to this, and you know enough about it to talk on this subject.
Okay, I'm specifically talking about why do we keep everybody homeless? Why?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dude. Dalhouse Dude. No speakers on the queue on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Madam Clerk, does that bring us to item 4?
Yes.
Okay, that's been called special by Cards. John Walsh, HollywoodHighland.org. Dalhouse Dude. Item 4. Mr. Walsh, please come forward. Mr. Walsh, HollywoodHighland.org. Passes. Mr. Dude, item 4.
Communication from the city engineer relative to the installation of the name of Huck Jackman in Hollywood Walk of Fame. Big deal. Give a house to everybody. Quit all the
No, come on.
other
This has nothing to do with the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Okay, he's finished on this item. No speakers on the queue. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, that brings us, I believe, Madam Clerk, to item 6, where I will call forward Mr. Arnold Sachs and Mr. Daniel Jones. Please come forward.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Arnold Sachs, trying to stay on the subject. And this subject is the Los Angeles Department of Building and Safety, and it includes the expense of overtime. So overtime, I guess, would be part of the subject, because it includes that expense. Is that correct, Mr. City Attorney? Because with the city budget being as fragile as it is, in the public sector of business, when you're managing a department, you're told to watch your overtime. Control your overtime to control your costs. Yet the city budgets $1.5 million in general funds overtime. How do you watch your budget if you don't watch your overtime? Unanticipated costs. They're taking these funds for the reserve for unanticipated costs. Well, isn't overtime an unanticipated cost? Yeah. You don't usually anticipate overtime. That's how you control your budget. In the private sector, when overtime is necessary, then you have to make adjustments. But when you budget $250,000 a month for overtime, how much is in the balance left for unanticipated costs? This 48R/08/08J200. What's the balance for that budget? Can we find that out? Because we also hear that when you take money from one budget, you have to put it back in another budget. So when you take money from one account, how does that affect the other accounts? What's the account balance left? Maybe we should ask somebody who's in it, wants to run for controller, what they think.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Mr. Jones, please come forward.
Good morning. My name is Daniel Jones. You almost nailed it. I think I can help here. It says right here, for an expected plan of construction services into taking money from an unexpected cost fund. Exactly what he said. You're planning for that overtime. The reason why is because the permit process, to which I was against 4 months ago, speeded the permit time from, I'm not sure, from 45 days to 10 days. What that does is it increases the workload that you knew would happen when you wrote the new permit process law 4 months ago. So this unexpected cost and overtime that you have now, you gave yourself 4 months ago. You just waited till the opportunity presented itself today. There's nothing unexpected about what the people should think about where that money is going. Instead of for overtime, I think the city should plan a little bit better and hire the people that need to do all this hired up, speeded up process, because we have the law now. We have to deal with that part of it. Instead of keeping the expected resources coming to the overtime, why don't you hire a few more people to help with what you planned with in the first place. Why don't you show the city that you're not selfish with the people that work for this city? Why don't you hire a few more people to work for the city? We have to deal with the law, but we'll deal with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Krikorian, for clarity, I'm assuming, sir?
Yes, Mr. President. Thank you very much. I'm not sure how things are going in Lenox these days, but here in the city of Los Angeles, construction starts are actually improving, and the result of that is that there's more demand for the expedited plan check that's offered by DBS, and so this transfer within the department's budget from the department's own enterprise fund reserve to the general fund salaries over time. It has no impact on the general fund. This has already been included within the department's budget, and the good news is that the reason for the transfer is because of increasing economic activity, increasing construction activity, which causes an increasing demand on the personnel of the Department of Building and Safety. So this is actually a good news measure, and this transfer will enable us to continue to bring the backlog down in order to expedite this expedited plan check activity, increase the number of projects that are going forward quicker, and create jobs. So that's the reason for this, and if it is approved, Mr. President, just to save my popping up again, I'd ask that it go forthwith.
Thank you. Okay, on this item, Madam Clerk, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Per Mr. Krikorian's request, forthwith. Okay, that brings us to item 7, John Walsh, Arnold Sachs. I think this is Don. Oh, this is Don Garza. Okay, good to see you again. Okay, Mr. Walsh, come forward, followed by Arnold Sachs, followed by Mr. Garza.
And also, Mr. President, amended motion 7A has been circulated for this item.
Okay, wonderful. Yes, sir, Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, or go to the front page online, or go to Ron Kay, or go to Mayor Sam, or go to Joseph Mailander. This is a very, very complex issue, which they boiled down to 4 lines here. Incidentally, under the council rules, there is supposed to be a fiscal impact statement submitted for each of these agenda items. And if you go, you'll see none submitted. Community impact statement, none submitted. Trade, Commerce, and Tourism Committee, waived consideration. This is what they do when they want to get something through really fast. And there'll be no debate on this issue. It's a complex issue concerning LAWA, Los Angeles World Airports, and a free lease, and it concerns LAUSD, and they're claiming it's going to preserve the aviation center. Now, you can tell the less they talk about something, the more important it is. And I would ask that there be that you bring somebody up from at the table to explain this. And if they don't do it, and I'm speaking to the 100,000 people who are out here, you know it's phony. Have somebody who put this on get up here and explain what the hell this is all about. HollywoodHighlands.org. Government by secrecy, but politically correct.
Mr. Arnold Sachs. Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. This evidently is about losing this schooling space at the airport for future mechanics. So I'm looking at the Trade, Commerce, and Tourism Committee meeting for Monday, and it has an item on its agenda regarding, because you're looking for funds to operate this training center. And on Monday's Tourism Commerce Committee, there's an item referring to maintenance and repair and passenger boarding bridges at LA Ontario International Airport, a contract between the City of Los Angeles and Total Airport Services. But the city doesn't own Ontario Airport, so why are they spending money? Right here in council chambers. And if Mr. Krikorian was paying attention, as the people in Lenox were, he'd have heard Gina Marie Lindsay say, the airport owns Ontario. If you have money to spend on maintenance in Ontario, then you have money to spend on this hangar. Show the facts.
Thank you, Mr. Garza. Thank you. And I put Mr. Krikorian's facts up against yours any day. Hi, Mr. Garza. Haven't seen you in a while.
Good morning, City Council members. This is a very important agenda item. I came here because I thought there was another item that was going to happen. This is a wonderful start and a beginning to. We know the economics, the dynamics, and the financial situations of the state and the city are pretty rough, and especially LAUSD. And so we need to allow, the city needs to be able to partner and be able to facilitate the continuance of the education of the people in the city of Los Angeles and the surrounding LA County. So this is common sense. It's ideas from a great man, Eric Garcetti. And I say let's get this report in and see how this can be facilitated in the future. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, the public, for your comments today. Colleagues, I rise to ask today for your support in protecting the Van Nuys Aviation Training Program. This has been a classic middle-class escalator to take folks in our community and give them a good trade so that they can provide for their families. The aviation training program at Van Nuys Airport is critical to our Los Angeles economy. And the key to retaining and attracting industry in Los Angeles is to provide career-ready workers, those who have the skills that will attract the companies and keep the companies here that are so critical to our economic success. And it is within our power to prepare LA's workforce and make a positive difference for the future of this city for its residents. The aerospace industry has always been very strong here. The space shuttle flying overhead just a couple months ago was a reminder of the great things that we have done right here in Los Angeles. And we must ensure the future of this industry in Los Angeles by preparing our workforce with top-notch training. And I'm deeply concerned that this program could close. My motion requests that Los Angeles World Airports find a solution, starting with reduced rents, and to engage LAUSD to continue operating the North Valley Occupational Center Aviation Center. This program is a direct line to industries that are hiring now and that shall continue to hire skilled workers in the future. So saving a program that trains LA's aviation workforce is critical to the competitiveness of our airports, our aerospace industry, our trade sector, and the overall economy. So I ask you today for a vote on this motion. I do welcome Ms. Perry's amending motion. I think the first part, it says exactly what our motion asked for, which was to reduce the rate, to look at airline tenants, to get first rights of refusal for all the graduates, and to do an internship program, I think, is a great idea. So absolutely welcome that as well. We do have folks here from the airport, and I do want to thank them because they have stepped up and shown their willingness. I'm more than happy to say that on the record. I don't think we need to have you come to the table unless you want to, but we want to appreciate your willingness to come forward. Maybe you can.
I don't think we need for them to come forward unless Ms. Perry has a request for them to come forward. Ms. Perry?
So just in conclusion, real quick.
Eric finishes.
Yeah, no problem. So just in conclusion, I want to thank LAWA. I think that we can solve this, LAUSD as well. And one last thing I'll say, colleagues, is we have adult ed, LAUSD has adult ed, and our community colleges have adult ed. It really underscores, and it's something that I'll be exploring in our Jobs Committee, what we might be able to do to commingle our funds, commingle some of our resources, work with our proprietary and other departments to look at workforce training through one lens, through the person looking for a job, instead of through the lenses of what each of our own bureaucracies or our governments are. And I think this would be a positive move to make this a more business-friendly and worker-friendly city. I ask for your support today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Ms. Perry.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. And good ideas are good ideas, and so this is why I put the amendment in, because I wanted to push a little more specificity. And I did have a chance to talk to Gina Marie, and she said that she was awaiting a business plan from LAUSD. I'm very interested in this because I've done extensive work with the Los Angeles Unified School District over the last 11 years. So I saw it as an opportunity to be strategic in job creation and to get to the point where we can mandate that LAWA airline tenants get the rights of first refusal for all of the graduates of this program, and to create an on-the-job training program for those students. And I felt it was important because it satisfies that monies spent by LAWA benefit LAWA as required by the Federal Aviation Administration, and it aids LAWA airline tenants to benefit local education and, of course, local hiring. This would practically guarantee full employment of all graduating certified students and enhance safety because of the high quality of the teaching and the course available to people in this employment stream. And the internship program itself would provide these young people with the opportunity to be educated while actually working. Now, I'd also like to make sure that we resolve the issue or the question of whether the rent itself is the primary tipping point for the rationale to close down this school, and if the rent is adjusted, is that a long-term solution? You couple that with the business plan coming from the superintendent's office at LAUSD, and between that and our analysis by our own legislative analysts, hopefully we'll be able to make a determination based on that. But on an interim basis, this appears to be helpful, and it's also a great opportunity to explore other private-public partnerships with some of the education alliances around town to keep this project going and alive. So I'm happy that Mr. Garcetti has embraced my item 7A as amendment, a friendly amendment. Thank you very much.
Mr. Rosendahl.
Yes, indeed, it is a friendly amendment, Ms. Perry, item number 7A. It just adds to the quality of the motion itself. And I asked Mr. Labange, and I'd like to ask this of Mr. President, I would like him to come up for 2 seconds and just give me a brief update.
Okay, yes.
Okay, come on up. Bottom line is this, it's a no-brainer. Public-private partnerships, public-public partnerships, public-public-private partnerships, whatever partnerships we can get work. LAUSD willing to partner with us? Great. Private sector willing to work with LAUSD? Great. The more we make it happen, the more effective it will be. What is the status of this? I know we've been working on it a while.
Mark Adams, Los Angeles World Airports. We got a formal request after hearing about this issue for some time. We got a formal request from LAUSD in the middle of December requesting that upon expiration of their current lease in June 30th, that we look at a reduced rent lease going forward from July 1st on. We have responded to them and said what we need, as Ms. Perry suggested, was a business plan that verifies that the reduced rent was enough to make this program sustainable. Because we have to go to FAA to request authority to issue a below market rate lease. We're willing to do that if the school district provides us with enough background information. So what we're doing right now is waiting for the school district. Once we get that information, we'll package it up and go to FAA and ask for authority to provide the lease that's been requested.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Labange.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate Mr. Garcetti's leadership, Ms. Perry's leadership on this, and Mr. Rosendahl. You say it's a no-brainer, but you got to have brains to do it. And one of the biggest challenges we have is joint partnerships. And to resolve this and the quick action by the Air Department, the World Airports, and this issue shows that we can move forward. Thank you so much, everybody. And one more thing, Mr. President. I just wanted to rise for occupational schools. I went to West Valley Occupation, got 15 credits in high school. And anyone who went to occupation school has a great opportunity. So this is a great thing the Airports Department doing. Again, thank you, Ms. Perry, and thank you, Mr. Garcetti.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Garcetti, we're going to prepare to vote on this item at this time. Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
And that's adopted as amended.
Okay. Madam Clerk, we have our next item.
Item 9, call special for cards.
Okay. We do have some. Councilman Rosendahl.
Man's birthday today. He's only 54. His name is Ed Reyes.
I thought it was 26.
Just a baby.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Council President. All right. Mr. John Walsh will sing a song.
Just clear up something. When I die, one of my last requests is that it not be mentioned at the city council. Don't disgrace me after I die by ever mentioning my name here. John Walsh at HollywoodHighlands.org, or my birthday. And, of course, go to all those websites, Jack Humphreyville. Our problem with this, you just, incidentally, all this talk about leases. This is about leases. Just a minute ago, they said they were talking about a reduced lease. Look at number 7. It says free lease. They're lying. Number 7, 100,000 people are here. Look, free lease. To LAUSD, who can't afford the money.
Mr. President, he has not mentioned this item yet.
First of all, he's running the meeting, not the city attorney.
Please stick to the item, sir.
And for the record, I am giving the council president advice.
Thank you.
It doesn't happen over at the county.
Please continue on the item, sir.
Okay, now this issue, lease approval, we're asking that whenever you approve a lease, you say how much the lease is. Go to it, anybody who's watching. Number 9, they talk about the lease, but they don't say how much. That's why you want us to pay another 0.5% tax. And we are not going to vote in the herbicide tax. Take a look at number 9. Try to find out. It could be $1 million. It could be 10 cents. The number one thing they want to do is fool you people out there by not giving you the information and having Carmen Trutanich's stooge stop me from speaking.
Okay, Councilmember Zine, you're on the queue.
It's right in the motion, Mr. President. Tarzana Neighborhood Council seeks the approval for the lease at 19130 Ventura Boulevard. The location is on Ventura Boulevard. Term of the lease shall run from July 1st through June 30th, 2012-2013. The amount of rental is $350 a month, and that's $4,200 per year. We be paid from the Neighborhood Council annual funding allocation, so it's part of their budget. They'll have a space to run their operations. Again, it is $350 a month on Ventura Boulevard, and it's going to be paid for out of the Tarzana Neighborhood Council funds that are appropriated for the neighborhood councils. If there's any question, it is all in the motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Seeing no one else on the queue, no other public speaking cards. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That motion passes. Next item, Madam Clerk.
That takes council to general public comment.
Okay, we do have several cards on public comment. Arnold Sachs, if you're still here, please come on up. Michael Dennis, after Mr. Sachs, and then Bill Hui.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. Too bad Mr. Wesson has left the room, because we could have a one-sided discussion about how relevant facts and gathering are. Here's a letter, speaking of facts, December 13, 2012, Los Angeles World Airports, to Mr. Art Leahy. It's regarding the Green Line, plans for the Green Line, and the facilities. But you know what's missing from this letter? No mention of the high-speed rail. Didn't council have high-speed rail discussions here in this council chambers? You spent a couple hours moving forward. We need to have high-speed rail to the LAX. By the way, how much did that cost, doing that study for nothing? Because we know, and my facts here could be a little shaky, that the Occupy LA movement cost $2 million to clean up. But we don't know how much was spent there. And we certainly don't know how much was spent when you did the advantageous tax break for local businesses, even though local was referred to as being statewide. And this item on the agenda for Monday's Trade, Commerce, and Tourism Committee meeting, where the agreement is between a company in Ontario and the city of LA, well, again, Gina Marie Lindsay sat right here in chambers. The question was put to her. LAWA owns Ontario Airport. Well, if LAX owns Ontario Airport, then why is the city funding repairs? What about the budget? What about the deficit? If you have money flushed to do repairs for LAWA, then you must certainly have money someplace else, unless my facts are wrong. but my facts are city documents. How can that happen? Well, maybe Mr. Krikorian can explain.
Thank you very much. Michael Dennis. Bill Huey.
Yes, sir. This is Michael Dennis. I would like to say, thus saith the Lord Jesus, you so-called council members, listen to me. The mayor of Los Angeles rejected my homeless plan for the homeless, and I in turn multiplied the homeless because he rejected my plan. Now you, the council members, have taken upon yourselves to tell my people that they cannot feed the homeless, and you are also charging my people money to feed the homeless. You have also taken away the people's bus transfer in the midst of this economic crisis. You must stop charging my people money to feed my people. You must let my people feed my people, and you must return their bus transfers. If you do not do what I ask you, within 30 days I shall reach back in the past and send an infestation of roaches and bed bugs in your houses, your family's houses. If this sounds familiar to you, then so be it. You people are being greedy, and I will also send the bed bugs and the roaches to the council chambers. Thus
Thank you very much. Bill Huey. Then we'll have Bobby Cooper.
Good morning, members of the LA City Council. I'm here because I have tremendous respect for Ms. Jan Perry and Eric Garcetti. Tonight they're going to have a debate sponsored by the Southern California Association for Affordable Housing, a mayoral debate at the Catholic Church Auditorium down the street. I got a call from the Kevin James for Mayor campaign last Friday said that Mr. James was told he was not welcome. Now, I have a lot of friends in the media. I host an international radio show now. So I called this organization. I spoke to their executive director, and he told me the reason Mr. James is not welcome is because he's not yet raised $1 million. He's raised $750,000. So I said to the executive director, what if a drug cartel president wanted to come and speak, and he's got $10 million in his pocket? So they gave me a lot of BS. I called the association, and I politely told them, I have friends in the national media, I have friends in the local media, and I'm giving you till Monday at 1 o'clock to change your mind. They didn't change their mind. So I have one of the largest databases in LA of email. I have about 1,000 people in the media in this country, 20,000 in the entertainment industry, and I've been speaking. Now, I have a gut feeling why Mr. James is not welcome. It's one of two reasons, either because he's a Republican or because he's gay, all right? Neither one of those two reasons are valid for keeping anyone from putting their ideas in front of the public. He is the official Republican Party candidate. The media's been interviewing. He was on KBC Radio 2 days ago. He was on Channel 7 last week. They're snubbing him. So I think that the two members of the City Council, Ms. Jan Perry and Mr. Eric Garcetti, should call this association and say, look, either put Kevin James up on stage or I'm not coming, because I got the national media is going to report on this. And even though we sit here every day batting ourselves on the back, this is going to smear LA. It's going to make us look either homophobic or Republican haters, and that's not the American way. Bill Huey, FairHousingCoalition.com. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Bobby Cooper. And then John Walsh.
Yeah, my name is Bobby Cooper. I'm here today to try to get my business back. What it is a few council members up there that's taking over my business downtown, me my fashion samples, me my sexy fashion company. I'm locked out of my business. I walk the streets with nowhere to stay. Nobody won't rent me anything because I'm making noise about my own business. My bank accounts are taken over by city council members and the police department. I would like my business back and get back to my normal business working. My freedom, my democracy. Where's the democracy here? You know, when you go and your wife's missing, a $7,000 ring missing, and you got skinheads riding around in police cars looking at you like you crazy, intimidating, threatening. They're all off in the hospitals. Get me kicked out of the hospitals. The bus drivers won't even pick me up last night. I'm sleeping anywhere I can on my feet. I have to wash my clothes on my feet. Please give me back my business. You have no right to go in my bank account or take my wife or be involved in my family's kidnapping. I don't have time to come down here. I've been coming down here 3 years trying to find out who's victimizing me, and I find that city council and police department. You guys are down in the clerk's office alleging to be my secondary owners of my business. I built that business 13 years ago, been in it 13 years. Designs, fashions, everything stolen from me because of your spying. I can't use the telephone. I can't even call the FBI on you.
Thank you, sir. John Walsh, then Antonio Ramirez. Please sit down, sir.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Do you understand what you've been told, Ms. Perry? I'm not supposed to talk to her. They are having a debate at the cathedral, in the auditorium. The Association for Fair Housing, for Affordable Housing, and they are excluding a gay man. And the reason they're doing it is the Archbishop doesn't want it. And if you want to walk through that, Miss Perry, you will not get a single gay vote. Garcetti's smart enough to stay out of here, and we're going up to Gruel's office, and they're saying you have to take $1 million. And they also, this organization is not allowing Mr. Playtez to speak. Now, you're supposed to be Mr. Gay. I want you to say something. I want you to say something, Mr. Rosendahl.
Mr. President,
Please
he should
direct
direct his
your
comments to the
comments to the
council as a
council.
whole.
I can't see. They won't let me point to one person. Or I just want to know if there is, and I want to say to Dave Zonheiser, an openly gay man on the at the LA Times, he's not going to do this story because everybody gets on their knees for Eric Garcetti. This is, and I'm telling you, it's going to be full. And if anybody, not including Cindy Gruel, walk through that and go down there, you're in trouble. HollywoodHighlands.org. And I want to say that the Archbishop and the Catholic Church makes one exception when it comes to gay, and that's allowing their priests to give blowjobs to
Please, you are now disruptive to the council. You are very disruptive to the council now.
I take great pride in doing the
Mr. Walsh, you have been disruptive to the meeting. We need to put that on the record. You need to know that. Thank you.
Can you return my few seconds that you just omitted?
Let's start her clock over again, please. Antonio Ramirez.
Thank you. I take great pride in doing the corrupted and racist LAPD Rampart stations and Charlie Beck's. Here are the gang-infested and criminal felony-infested buildings. 1401 through 1407 3rd Street, Los Angeles, California, 90026. Next, 265 South Lucas Avenue, Los Angeles, California, 90026. Next, 275 South Lucas Avenue, Los Angeles, California, 90026. Next, 1345 Emerald Drive, Los Angeles, California, 90026. Next, 119 through 233 South Lucas Avenue, Los Angeles, California. Also, the following stupid and reckless slumlord is Francis G. Smith and property management Gary Canals Income Property, who rent and hire many criminal illegal felons as Carmen, Santiago, Roberto, Alicia in apartment 414, and Vicky Cooper in apartment 202. And this is the property located at 245 South Lucas Avenue, Los Angeles, California, 90026. Again, several of these employees and gangbangers are entering or illegally breaking into tenants' apartments. They're burglarizing, they're vandalizing, and they are also stealing ID cards. Having said that, the following gangbangers are in that area: the Crazy Boys, the Headhunters, the Playboys, 18th Street, MS-13, Hermano Salvatrucha, 13, Diamond Street, Temple Street, and several of the East LA gangbangers. Having said that, I know that Rampart Station is one of the most corrupted. You've got 99.9% Latino gang infested and who are also gang members. This morning I met a lovely police officer, and her name was Mandy Serrano. She was gracious, courteous, and polite. Bravo to her.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones. Okay. Last call for Daniel Jones, George Azarian. George Azarian. Okay. Juan Dude.
We allow this racism going on over here. It's ridiculous. She hates her own race. Who is she, Batman's wife? Anyway, Englander, you said that religion is the most important thing. That's BS. Housing is the most important thing.
Please address the council, sir.
Koreans, oh, they're dominating their territory. Oh, we're talking about domination and beating up each other instead of helping each other. Garcetti, that great poet changed my view of the universe. You're so greedy. What view? Greediness? They made you more greedy? Let's see. I believe in immigration. I believe in one human race. We don't need any borders. Omar, whatever, those poets. Big damn deal. Okay? Jesus and Lincoln. Riches by intelligence. What are you talking about? Let's change the system. Let's not just talk about it. Everything I heard today, freedom is not free. Well, of course, we all have to work. Khalil Gibran, the greatest, the prophet. Somebody just financed my lunch. They gave me $5. That is action. See, homelessness needs to be fought on a one-to-one basis. We need to finance each other out of homelessness. Read my book, The United World of Free and Clear. I wrote it as a fairy tale that could come true. And if we stop being idiots, like all these racist people that come around, you know, we can actually help one another. Do not hate your own race. Do not hate humanity.
Okay. That concludes general public comment. Madam Clerk, what's before us?
Council has motions for posted and referral.
Posted and referred.
That clears the desk.
Okay. Members, any announcements? Okay. Councilman Rosendahl?
Yes, the 4th annual All-State Life Insurance Marathon is going to happen this weekend. It's a 13.1 mile marathon. It's a 5K run. Sunday, January 13th at 7 a.m. It starts in Venice and finishes in Playa del Rey. It begins on the Venice Boardwalk, takes a loop around the harbor of Marina del Rey, and ends in beautiful Playa del Rey. Road closures for this event will begin at 6:30. Will open as their route is cleared of runners. Roaders in Venice will be cleared by 7:40. Marina del Rey by 9. And Playa del Rey will be clear by noon. So have fun and run, or stand around and watch them run. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Rosendahl. Councilman Labange.
With Councilman Paul Kokora and myself on Sunday, Campo de Cahuenga, the historic site right there on Lankershim, just just east of the Hollywood Freeway there, where the Articles of Capitulation were signed between Pio Pico and John C. Fremont that stopped the war between the independence of Mexico and then the Bear Flag Republic of the United States. Campo de Cahuenga historic site, the start of California, right, Mr. Kokorian, as always, birthplace of California, right there in that location, and it's at in the afternoon right at Campo de Cahuenga. Please come and join it. And also, members, I do want to tell on Tuesday, the 15th, the public is invited to gather at the observatory at 3:30, and at 4 in the afternoon we'll have a salute, a tribute to the late great Huell Hauser, and Dr. Krupp, the observatory director, is guaranteed for absolute sure at 5:08. There will be a beautiful sunset, and we'll salute one of the greatest of all Californians who came by way of Tennessee, Huell Hauser.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Let's stand for adjournments. Any adjournments? Councilman Koretz.
Thank you, colleagues. I know that many of you know and have worked with Susan Bursk, the wonderfully effective and inspiring president of the Century City Chamber of Commerce, who previously served as district director in the 5th District under my predecessor, Jack Weiss. Susan is here today along with other family members. I'm sorry to report that Susan's husband, Dr. Alan Bursk, passed away earlier this week, and I ask you to join me in adjourning our meeting today in his memory. While born in Chicago, Alan Bursk was a true Angelino. He attended Roosevelt High in Boyle Heights, went to UCLA as an undergraduate, and following his medical training at the University of Chicago, did his residency at the VA. Alan was a board-certified orthopedic surgeon practicing for over 40 years, both in private practice and at Orthopedic Hospital in downtown LA. He donated his time to the spine clinic at Orthopedic Hospital and also traveled to Mexicali to help those in need. He was a teacher and mentor to countless up-and-coming orthopedic surgeons over the years. It is amazing to think of how many lives he touched and how many people he healed and gave hope and happiness to. Away from his practice, Alan was either playing golf, dancing, watching pro football, or watching classic movies on TV. I know all of us in this room fully understand the magnitude of this loss, and we recognize the devotion, dedication, service to community, leadership, and love shown by this wonderful man of medicine. Alan is survived by Susan, his loving wife of 37 years, and 2 sons, Hayden and Mike. And the family asks that donations in memory of Alan S. Bursk, MD, be made to the American Diabetes Association at diabetes.org. And he will be sorely missed.
Thank you, Councilman Koretz. Other adjourning motions? Councilman Labange.
Members, I ask we adjourn in memory of Kathy Davis, who was a victim of crime, 81 years old, a tragic incident in the Los Feliz area. She was born in humble roots in Texas, made her way to UCLA, and then flourished in the atmosphere of the 1950s in Los Angeles and the endless possibilities that occur in our great city. On the 17th of January, there will be a memorial in Griffith Park in honor of her, and a tree will be planted of this longtime Los Feliz resident. Also, another great person, but who went away peacefully, quite different than Miss Davis, is Jack Aletsky, Hollywood High graduate, married for 59 years. And the great thing, Paul, when you go to the community meetings, when you meet the people who live in the area for so long and they're old-time graduates of Hollywood or Fairfax or some other high school in the area, they contribute greatly. He was a United States Navy officer, and he served aboard the USS Pittsburgh and earned a Bachelor of Arts degree when Woodbury College was downtown here in Los Angeles. He became a member of the Hollywood Teamsters Local 399 and a long and rewarding career throughout as a transportation captain coordinator for over 6 decades. He's survived by his wife, Lujan, their son, Craig, daughter-in-law, Judy, and grandchildren. I ask we adjourn in memory of Jack Howard Lakitz. And finally, Sadath Garcia. This is very tragic. A young man had a heart attack just the other day. He was a graduate in 2004 at the University of Redlands, Mr. Garcia, and he was gallantly helped by the team at Cedars-Sinai, but didn't survive. He had come back to California after working in politics on the East Coast, and then he went back to UCLA Law School. So while driving, he had a heart attack, and he went far too young, far too fast. He's survived by many family and friends, and the Garcia family asks for your thoughts and prayers for this young man. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Labange. Any other adjourning motions? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.